Welcome to Black and Gold Today Digital Edition, an in-depth look at your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hello and welcome on into another edition of Black and Gold Today Digital. I am Mike Fenner, joined as always by Ashley Kaiser and Kent Urbanski as we are talking Pittsburgh Steelers football. And guys, we're talking about a team that just came off an interesting week, to say the least. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we talked a week ago, coming into this stretch, feeling pretty good about themselves, going up against two teams you would think it'd be favorable matchups at home. Granted, 2 games on a short week, but we are sitting here talking about 2 losses, and not just 2 losses, but 2 losses to teams that entered those matchups at 2-10. It's the first time in NFL history a team over 500 has lost consecutive games to 2 teams, 8 games under 500. I will let you guys take
And
the
at home, like that has to hit the hardest, as they had the fans there. They had their special jerseys on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they looked good. They didn't play well. Do you think it was like the confidence of feeling good and going into these with confidence that they were going to, easily get the wins, or what do you think went wrong, attitude-wise?
I mean, clearly part of it, Kenny Pickett gets injured during the Arizona game, is not in for the second half of that, and then does not start since we last talked, has the ankle injury, going to be out for a few weeks at least, has the tightrope surgery on the ankle, so that obviously hurts. But Kent, aside from that, you have Mitch Trubisky, who has that veteran presence, has experience, just didn't really come together.
Tough for a guy to come in, off the bench. It's been sitting there all year long, just watching Kenny, and it takes time to find some momentum. And he wasn't going to find that right off the bat in the Arizona Cardinals game. I mean, and then certainly we thought maybe with a week's worth of practice and with his comments that he was going to be aggressive and throw the ball downfield. Well, you saw what happened throwing in the tight coverages. Kind of led to interceptions, and the one got called back. But I don't know that they gave a type of a game plan for him to be successful, and that the end result is what you saw, and it wasn't pretty.
Sometimes the grass isn't always greener. In the short term, that Cincinnati game after Matt Canada's let go, hey, over 400 yards of offense, but
it's like being in a relationship with somebody. Everything's going great, 400-yard game, everybody's happy, and then the next week, your spouse or whatever is not happy. You know what I mean? And you lose to a 2-10 team, and then maybe there's a little recovery, and you think the relationship could bounce back, and still on the rocks, right? So terrible analogy going on
I
here.
feel like there's always a boundary that comes up for them. They switch offensive coordinators. That's something that they need to overcome and regroup from. They come back, they do well, but then, Kenny gets hurt. That's another boundary in front that they're trying to overcome. Regroup. I feel like that's what they're always trying to do. We need to get back in the lab, regroup. But where is the regroup happening? Because we're not seeing changes. And I think that's the frustrating thing for the players, for the coaches, but for us to see that we're not seeing a change in the mistakes that are continuing to happen. So if you're not making changes, it's the definition of insanity. Nothing's going to be fixed.
I'm not so sure what changes can be made at this point. We're in December. You need to be playing your best football in December. This team's regressing. Injuries are playing a major role, especially in that line. Patchwork middle linebacker.
No doubt.
And teams are exposing that, You don't think Bill Belichick was sitting back after watching what the tight ends did against the Steelers in that game and didn't duplicate that? Absolutely. You saw exactly the same type of game plans against them, and that were successful, and it was successful again. However, saying that, the Steelers they shut them down in the second half. All the scoring was in the first half, but it was too much for them to overcome, and I was kind of concerned about that, whether the Steelers could bounce back, and they made a valiant effort to do that, and then again, I thought there was some play calls that didn't go their way. I hate bringing the referees back into play, but that kind of things just kind of railroad like that. And when you're struggling to find a win and you're not dominating the game to get that win. And so that's the end result of it. And they had an opportunity at the end of the game against the Patriots that I was really questioning why they went deep. Fourth, you needed 2 yards to keep the drive going, to maybe get a field goal to tie it up to send it into overtime. I get you play to win, but I don't know. I would have probably have tried to either run the ball there or something in the flat or some sort of screen to get the 2 yards to keep it going instead of deep ball.
To play devil's advocate, though, on the 4th and 2 inside the 10, where they could have taken the points, could have gone for the field goal down 21-10. They do go into the flat there to Jalen Warren. They come up short.
Right.
Big moment in the game. Obviously, they
Well, I
play
don't know
field
that was a
position, but
design play there. I thought
Sure.
that was a check down bailout
read.
kind of play there.
Right.
That hey, take your hat off to the Patriots. They have a great defense.
They do.
You know, and they stopped what the Steelers were bringing or throwing at them. So there we go.
I feel like there's a lot obviously screaming out of negative things you can see that they didn't do well, but when you look at these 2 games, what are some things that you feel like they did well or that we could take as a positive away from these 2 losses?
Well, Ken talked about the fight coming back in that New England game. I mean, there's not much you can take away from that Arizona loss, in my opinion. I mean, they got beat, and especially the run defense against former Steeler James Conner. Not sure you can take a ton of positive away from the Arizona result, but yeah, the valiant effort in the second half to make it a game, to come back. I mean, you had guys making hustle plays like the Miles Killebrew block punt. I mean, a guy really trying to extend and make a play to keep the game going.
Tried to swing the momentum, right?
And it did, Yeah. But man, two surprising, obviously, losses at home. Not what this team is typically known for under Coach Mike Tomlin in December.
No. And they're banged up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You lose Kenny Pickett, and bringing Mitch in middle of December, and you're just not going to have the timing down. And, I think Mitch is capable of doing the job, but he can't force things, and he's known for forcing things.
Yeah.
And, and costly turnovers. So. I don't know. I don't know that they rebound from this and what they do. Now, having said that, wouldn't surprise me if they go out to Lucas Oil Stadium and get a win there. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing that this team is firing on all cylinders. They're grasping at straws right now, and you don't win football games like that.
It's going to be 3 out of the last 4 games of the regular season on the road. The lone home game remaining December 23rd against Cincinnati, but the other games at Indianapolis, then home for Cincy, at Seattle, at Baltimore. It's not going to get any easier for these guys.
And I think you and I were talking about it on the way home from the game yesterday, that I don't know that they bounce back from this. You think they're mathematically still in it and still, what the AFC, the way things are lining up, and teams are going to still have to play it out, and they could still end up making the playoffs. But does anybody feel excited about this team right now going into the playoffs? I mean, I don't.
Yeah, and I feel like there's the opportunity of them making playoffs, but the ability of them doing well once they get there is very low. I mean, I don't know if you look at the records that some teams maybe have a bad start and they get down and then they persevere and they rise to the occasion, like these 2-10 teams have, and they win against us. And then some of the teams that start a little stronger and do worse once comes December. Right. I mean, that's just kind of how the ball rolls. But I mean, even if they do surprise us and come back and do well,
right.
I don't know how much favorable it's going to be for them.
I think the bigger picture here is, are we seeing the end of the Mike Tomlin era?
Yeah.
And you're seeing that now with these 2 losses. The questioning and the media is putting it out there. Is this
somebody's always to blame?
Right. So and it starts at the top, right? I don't know that I disagree with that.
There's certainly times of turmoil here in terms of the season right now, and we'll see what answers come their way as the Steelers will hit the road. Next week, they will take on the Indianapolis Colts for a Saturday edition of NFL football at Lucas Oil Stadium. Guys, just early thoughts, predictions. I know we'll have another show leading into that to talk about this one, but just initial thoughts on this matchup against the Colts and another backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew. Right. They don't have Anthony Richardson in there, so it's no guarantee either way. Really, you're going to have another matchup like this coming up.
It all comes down to pressure. Bailey Zappi tore us up in the first half because there was no pressure on him.
Yeah.
If they get if they can put the pressure and dial up some pressure, that's, takes pressure off of that, back end of it, and I think teams are just going to continue exposing the middle of the field against this depleted linebacker core. So if they can figure that out, we'll see what kind of resolve this team has, right? If going out, are they gonna fold, or are they gonna, keep playing their hearts out? And I think when you have leadership guys like Cam Hayward and Minkah Fitzpatrick in there, they're not gonna let this team just fold. So they'll go out and be competitives, whether they can get over the edge and get a win out there, which that is a very important game, by the way, coming up. So,
no question.
If they win that, because the Colts are right in it, we're in the mix with them. So if they can stay ahead of them, get a win at home, against Cincinnati, you slide in with maybe a 9 win team record. So
I don't think we're going to see a new team in less than a week. I don't think we're going to see much change. We haven't seen them make much change. So what's to expect that they're just going to turn things around?
It's the NFL, and it's like two and 10 teams came in, and where everybody thought they were going to, Belichick is playing to lose and get draft picks. Those guys don't do that. You know what I mean? That's just all talk. They come to play. They play to win. It's professional football. It's the NFL. And we'll see if the Steelers can go out and get a win next week.
No doubt. A lot of teams in the mix for that AFC wildcard right now. The Colts, the Texans, the Steelers, the Browns, the Bills, the Bengals, the Broncos.
Right.
There's a lot of teams fighting for 3 playoff
year
spots.
in the NFL.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that does it for our show this week. Steelers coming off of consecutive losses to the Cardinals and Patriots. They'll go into Lucas Oil Stadium next week and have that mini bye going into the matchup with the Colts on Saturday. For Ken Urbanski, Ashley Kaiser, I'm Mike Fenner from our entire crew. Thanks so much for watching Black and Gold Today Digital Edition. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week for another edition of Black and Gold Today Digital Edition.